Alice took a deep sigh. You really haven't gotten that far yet. I would have thought better of you, Reginald. Hey, I replied. I've been very busy if you haven't known. Things have kind of been going on for me, so I haven't had that much time with the magical index. So, fill me in. What's a trigger? Alice put her hands to her side. Boys, she said. Okay, listen closely. A trigger is an individual quirk. Basically, just about every caster there is has their own unique sort of way about them. No two people are alike, you see. And so the way that people choose to cast is often a reflection of that itself. One's trigger is the individual means by which they cast spells. Regardless of what type of caster you are, everyone has a trigger, a unique sort of way that they as an individual summon their magical abilities and cast their spells. Your trigger tends to be fairly unique to you. It comes from the individual, so you need to find some sort of motion or habit that reflects your personality. I would have thought you had found it already. I mean, seriously, you have seen magic done before, right? I started to think back, and suddenly it came to me. Every time I had seen magic used, there was always a flourish to it. Both the individuals I had seen cast magic did it in their own unique way. For example, the blonde woman who was an assistant for the man in the pinstripe suit seemed to cast magic with the whirl of the tip of her finger, while the man in the pinstripe suit simply snapped his fingers. So, when you think about it, it's clear that each of them had their own individual manner, a way that they cast spells. So, how does one find out what their individual casting style is? What's my trigger? I thought to myself. I suppose boys will be boys, Alice said, thinking all the statistics and strategy through, but missing the finer points. That's okay, Alice said. We can find your trigger pretty easily, she said, smiling at me in a way that once again sent shivers down my spine. The same way she usually talked when she was about to say something terrifying. How exactly would I find my trigger? I announced to Alice. Well, it's pretty simple. You already know how to use the spell and the basics of magic. You have magical energy, of course. So, finding your trigger is just a matter of pressure. Basically, we have to pressure you. Get your individual personality to reflexually respond. Reflexually respond? That's right, Reginald. Basically, give you no other choice but to use your trigger. And in that moment where you have no other choice, your individual personality will respond, causing the magic to take effect. Okay, I said, still quite wary of the direction Alice seemed to be going in. So, what do you mean, apply pressure? Alice got a huge, very wicked grin on her face. She reached behind her and pulled out a small object. At a glance, it appeared to be a pocket knife. Oh no, I have a feeling this is about to get bad. Alice, smiling widely, slowly unfolded the pocket knife, the blade clicking into place. Well, apply pressure is really pretty simple. All I have to do is try to kill you, she said, a mad grin on her face. What? I said, shocked, starting to back away from Alice. No, it's okay. I'm sure you'll make it. You'd better be careful, though. I wouldn't want you to actually die. Alice, I think you need to slow down, I said, still trying to slowly back away, but the grin on Alice's face said she had no intentions of doing it. She gripped the pocket knife in her hand tightly. Asgar, she said, and all at once, a glow came over the pocket knife. This is the point where you might want to start running, Reginald, she said, slowly beginning to step towards me. The closer she came, the faster her pace picked up. Oh no, this is bad. Alice lunged forward at me with a stabbing motion. I dived to the side, narrowly avoiding the blade. There was no joke about this. She was trying to stab me. Well, those are quick reflexes, Reginald. But that won't save you. You're going to have to use use magic. I was still on the ground from diving to the side. I looked over at Alice, starting to approach me again. I tried to get to my feet, shuffling backwards. Alice dashed forward at me again, swinging the pocket knife downward. I rolled to the side in an effort to try to avoid it. I managed to dodge the swing, but as I scrambled to my feet, looking over at Alice, I saw something that I didn't expect. Alice's swing had carved a 4-foot-long gash into the ground. It was massive, like she was swinging a greatsword around or something. It cut through the ground like butter. If she hits me with that, she's gonna cut me in two. Oh, I missed. That's okay. Second chance, Alice said, still smiling madly. Oh no, this is not good. You better start using that magic, Reginald, or you're gonna get chopped into little bitty pieces. You wouldn't want that now, would you? She said, grinning, starting to run towards me again. My heart pounded out of my chest. I was terrified. I turned away, beginning to run in the opposite direction, but it was no good. Alice was actually faster than I was. While I was running, she took another swipe at me. I managed to duck and roll under it. The tree beside me, unfortunately, wasn't as lucky. She cut right through it, and in a single instant, it fell to the ground. Alice began to chuckle. This is so much fun! I'm so glad that you thought of having this little summer camp, Reginald. I tried to extend my arm again. Sanctum! I shouted. This time I felt a slight warmth, and there was a glow around my hand, but still, nothing. There was no barrier separating Alice from me. Not yet, she said, smiling, stepping over the fallen tree. Guess we still get to keep playing. And just like that, Alice began to run at me again. I took off running in the other direction. This is bad. This is bad. This is very, very bad. One swipe after another, Alice swung at me. Again and again, narrowly I dodged it. My hands and knees were scuffed from rolling on the ground and bumping into trees. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my head, like an ever-present voice telling me to run over and over again. Run, run, run. Again and again I tried the spell. Sanctum, sanctum, sanctum. But every time, frustration, fear, it didn't work. Why won't it work? It failed over and over again, all while that ever-present voice just kept telling me, run, run, you have to run. Fleeing in terror as Alice swiped one time after another, slashing through everything in her path, cutting everything to ribbons. And there I was, just running for my life. I tried getting to safety over a fallen tree that had snapped off and fallen between two others. I tried climbing over, and in an instant, I noticed I couldn't move. I looked down to see my foot stuck in between two branches. In a panic, I tried to pull free. I couldn't. It was completely wedged. I was stuck, my heart beating out of my chest, my breath out of control. I looked back to see Alice. Alice and that mad smile and giddy laughter slowly approaching me. Oh, Reginald, I would have thought that you would make this more fun, she said, holding the knife to the side, its glow beginning to intensify. As the glow brightened, I began to see to the side of Alice a carve mark, a groove being slashed into the ground beside her, leaving a trail, what looked like smoke and steam rising from it, the grass around it catching fire, small surges of what looked like electricity rounding the area around Alice's hand as she approached, and still that mad grin on her face filled my heart with terror. This was it. I was a goner. I couldn't get free. I couldn't run. At that moment, Alice began to charge at me again, smiling and laughing. This is the end. This is it, I thought to myself, seeing that mad smile come ever the more closer. Everything slowed down. This was my final moment. I was going to die here, woods outside of my estate, killed by a mad blonde and a magical pocket knife. My heartbeat in my head pounding like the loudest drum I've ever heard, an earth-shattering pound. I don't know what it was that compelled me. Fear, intellect, instinct, I don't know. But in that moment, maybe it was sheer reflex. Maybe I was simply trying to call on the strength of someone else, someone stronger. I remembered that snap, that world-changing first snap from the man in the pinstripe suit, the snap of his fingers that changed my world. I reached my hand back towards Alice, gripping my jaw so hard I thought my teeth might break. As she approached, she came in with a heavy-handed overhead swing. "Sanctum!" I shouted, snapping the fingers at the end of my hand. There was a warmth, a surge of red light, and what sounded like clashing metal as a red, fiery shield created a barrier between me and Alice, stopping her blade.